Wow, that actually worked. Okay, maybe we've got voice now. All right, maybe we good. Maybe we good. Right, button up my pants. I was just sitting here in my underwear. Anyway, can you hear me okay? Is everything all right? Things working? You're on the treadmill because you're fat? Well, go out and walk in the woods. You get a better exercise. Treadmills are just silly. Good morning. Morning. So I figured I'd have a little bit of time here. Had my morning coffee, and I haven't been on YouTube at all. Dried up Wisconsin, really? We're supposed to get we're supposed to get rain for the next 7 days. About a half an inch a day, which is tits, if you ask me. Yesterday, I spent the day on the roof. The screws that hold my tin roof on have loosened up. Makes no sense at all. But yeah. Where's a good-looking wife of yours? My wife is probably in the bathroom. In Finland, the chalk is 3. The chalk or the clock is it's 3 o'clock. We got rain here, not much snow this winter. Yeah, no, we didn't have any snow this winter. It was like a couple of inches twice. That's it. You know. Good morning, UK. Farmer's work is never done. Well, today I got to go spray. I have to spray just a little bit. I got a little bit to do. You still trucking mushroom compost? I haven't actually. I have not. I'm putting my socks on. I have not. I haven't taken any hay down there because I have no hay made. I have nothing left. Well, there's 3 loads left. Tim is going to come. He's on vacation this week. So, yeah, he's on vacation. So all metal rules have leak after 10 to 20 years. You know, this roof's been on. I put that on there, 2005. So, yeah, 2005. I'm thinking that I'm going to do something different. Yeah. There it is. There's my finger, guys. Where'd Tim go? Tim went to Flight Fest. He watches a channel called Flight Test, and I've seen it a few times, but I never really got into it. I don't fly RC planes like I used to. Yeah, the rubber on the screws dries out. That's exactly right. I liked the old lead sealed ones. They lasted forever. You want some of that compost? Well, go get it. You can go get it. Kaolin Farms has it. Just go down there. You got to pay for it. I used to haul 96,000 pounds. I'd load that thing up, and just go. Super heavy loads. Dumb. Chatting for you a long time. Yeah, okay, AC Harris. Good to see you here. Yeah. Yeah, I actually caught hell for talking to you for so long. Mucker says, that guy's selfish. I was like, whatever. You know, it's like a once in a lifetime thing. You're going to see me. But, who knows if I ever get back there. Weather in New Jersey is dry, but rain is coming. Oh, is it raining there? Well, send it up. We're supposed to have it starting this afternoon. I have to go. I got to spray. Just had most of my screws in our metal. Well, the problem is that the screws have then rotted the wood because they leak just a little bit, and the wood rots, and then they won't hold anymore. So it's a mess. I'm not happy at all. So what I've done, and I'm probably just going to tear the fucking roof off again. I haven't started baling yet. I'm going to wait for this rain to go through, and then we got the 2 mowers are now where they belong, ready to go. I I haven't rebuilt the baler yet. No, that's coming this week in the rain. Me and my wife are going to do it because Tim's on vacation. There she is. What'd you do? Put on a bathrobe?
I'm gonna go weigh myself.
Oh,
You're lying?
You're buck ass naked?
Yeah.
Underneath those clothes, she's buck naked, just like me.
Shit.
I'm not taking the roof off. The screws loosened up. So I was up there yesterday retightening and replacing screws, and there were some that were just no good. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to take it off, take the roof off, put a new roof on, and call it a 20 years. I think that's what I'm going to do. Just go. I got a lot of work that needs to be done on this house. It's just not making me very happy. You got 115 degrees, 100 plus. Well, we're in Northeast Texas. Well, if you guys are hot, we're going to be wet, right? Isn't that the rule of thumb? When Texas is hot, the East is wet because all your moisture gets sucked out of the ground. And you guys, if I can remember right, have had a lot of rain. I need rain on this corn. Corn looks great, by the way. It looks fantabulous, if you really want to say it that way. Was out scouting. There's a lot of guys that are looking at my corn locally and saying that looks like shit. Well, it doesn't look like shit because it was planted through that cover crop. It's covered and it hasn't busted through the top of that cover crop yet. I laid most of it as flat. I laid it as flat as I could get it, but of course it come back up because it was too early. And but anyways, that wheat is really tough to get to lay flat. 2 inches in Kentucky. We're supposed to get 3. Oh no, I get breakfast in a show. Can I see those again?
Stop it.
They always make me smile.
What, because I'm fat?
No.
What the fuck?
And that mata butt. Inch long screws in all the barns and work well. I got 1.5 up there. I put 1.5, 2.5, 2.5, 1.5 inch. No, 2.5 inch springs. The 1.5s weren't long enough. No, the Westendorf loader's there. Yeah, Eastern Shore Farmers crops do look great. Well, he planted his about a month before I got mine in. The corn is, like I said, my corn looks great. You know, I looked at roller crimpers, and yes, I would definitely build one if I have the time, but I don't think I'm going to have the time. And I need to come up, if I could come up with some gas pipe, you know, some like 20-inch gas pipe, I would build one. Would be no problem to build one. No potatoes, no. Potatoes do well here. They used to grow potatoes here, but they don't anymore. Rochester. I will. I'm going to start mowing after the rain. And I'm going to start baling. I got to get that other baler up and going because Teresa wants it going. And I do have wheat that needs to come off, 360 acres of wheat. And I'm going to plant, even if it's July 1st, I'm going to plant 100 acres of corn yet. As dumb as that sounds, it's going to happen. Hand's fine. That's all that's left. It's a little bit open yet, but other than that, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Now, sold the 4x4 baler. Hello, Wes and family. Regards from Alan and Ella from the United Kingdom. Haven't had rain for 2 months here in central Illinois. Corn is suffering. I can imagine. Yeah, I talked to a fellow that I bought that ripper from pretty regularly, and he says they're drying up out there. And he's out towards Missouri, not far from Missouri, maybe 20 mile, 30 mile. How much are bricks selling for there? Don't know. Haven't sold any. Well, let me refrain from that. I talked to a guy who sold some straw, and he said, yeah, where everything is green and perfect. I got to tell you, man, you blew me away. I thought that you would, I thought you fucked up, but you didn't. Farming life, the farming life. He put corn and beans out way too freaking early for my liking. But sometimes you're the bird, sometimes you're the window, and I think he's the bird today. Oh. Eastern Shore farmers' crops always look great. That's not entirely true. I've seen it get pretty shitty down there. Yeah, actually, I need another tractor. I had those tractors before I did the straw baling. And don't be surprised if you see me in Colorado. Don't be surprised if you see me in Colorado. We're working on that one. Yeah, that's a problem for my wheat at 40-mile-an-hour wind. It still is a mill pond out here right now. It's pretty damn still. It's okay, Alan. Yeah, it was fun to talk to you over at Lama. Um, they are going to jinx you, and you're going to get a hurricane, and your corn is going to go flat as a pancake, and you're going to be like, fuck those guys. And then you'll stop making YouTube videos. Because the Eastern Shore farmer does make YouTube videos, and if you don't watch him, you should. And just go over and look. He does have some pretty good crops. Yeah, well, North Carolina gets super hot and super dry. If you're down east, where we were baling straw, you guys are always 5 days away from disaster. It always seemed that way. You're 5 days away from disaster. You can have 2-3 inches of rain, and 5 days later, the fucking corn is curling up. It's like, whoa, crazy. Wheat harvest should be about 14 days. Yeah, I know. And I'm going to, once this, you know what I should do is just say, fuck it, and go spray Roundup on that wheat that I have that I want to put that corn in. Just go spray it. Just fucking do it. And I'm going to go look at it this morning. I have to go spray some corn that I planted a few days ago. It should be just about peeking through the ground now. But I got to go spray that. And then I think I'm just going to go spray glyphosate on that wheat and just let the rain happen, and life will be good when I get out from under it. I got problems with the combine, put it away good, drove it in there, and went to start it up. I think I got water in the solenoid that holds the for the injector pump. You turn the key, solenoid kicks on, and then when you release the key, it shuts off. So there's something not right. BC 65925, the scooter man. You don't even have this scooter anymore, do you? North Carolina saves you from hurricanes. That's true. Yeah. Family's good. No one say their crops look good. Seabot is watching. Right. Absolutely correct. I say my crop looks good. People that drive by it think it looks like shit. The guy from the fertilizer plant is like, are you going to need more seed to replant that? I'm like, no, looks great. What are you talking about? He's like, really? Did you get out of your truck, or did you just do the 55 drive-by? You know, he just did the 55 drive-by. It's fine. You should just make a decision to do about 20 acres and see if it was a good call. I want to come back in with soybeans with the corn planter. Oh, and the wheat? After the wheat? You can put soybeans in. Yeah, soybeans, you can put soybeans in. Well, you're a little bit colder. You can put soybeans in up until the 5th of July. I wouldn't go any later than that. I will be putting soybeans in. I have not 1 pound of beans in the ground. I didn't plant any. I've had this intention to do this though since last year, that I'm going to take that wheat off and I'm going to put the beans in. Now I'm going to feed the fuck out of those beans. Don't you worry. They're going to get fed. Teresa's ready to go. We got the 7530 is all ready to rock and roll with that thing. And we're going to put in 250, 300 acres of soybeans. That's it. Hello, West Teresa, A. William, and Tim Key from the Philippines, baby. Michael Fazio's in the house. I haven't seen anything from you, brother. Where the hell have you been? I haven't seen anything from you, really. I usually watch your videos while I'm driving truck or something, or driving tractors. I'll kick them on because I don't stay up late enough to catch the live streams. You're the best farming YouTuber. Well, I wouldn't say that, but You farm hemp dog bane? Oh, yeah, hemp dog bane sucks. You know, the secret to hemp dog bane is to spray it in the fall before frost, before it starts to die back. So, and mow it twice in the summer. If you can mow that twice and then spray it in the fall, you have no more hemp dog bane. It'll take it out. Or plant corn. You plant corn, hemp dog bane does not like those herbicides. Glyphosate, use Crop Max or Max Supreme from FS. That's a surfactant or ammonium sulfate, which will actually break through the wax on that plant and cause it to translocate better to the roots. So I saw this video here the other day talking about atrazine turning to feminize frogs. Atrazine feminizes frogs. I use a lot of atrazine in corn production. I'm not feminized. My kids are not feminized, but yeah, I thought, well, that's kind of crazy. I mean, atrazine is not good to be eating or anything, but who's eating atrazine? You know, they say it's in the waterways and stuff, but I don't know that they put in the water. You know, I really honestly believe it's too. I refuse, don't like drinking bottled water because there's chemicals in it. They put in monosodium, calcium chloride, monocalcium chloride, or whatever the hell, calcium sulfide for flavor. Well, it's a chemical. Oh, there she is. Hey, shake, shake.
Shake
shake.
my fat ass.
Let's see your fat ass.
I got a big fat ass. What do you got?
What do you always got? We finished 600 acres of potatoes, 600 acres of wheat and barley, and we have 600 acres resting this year. The rest, you don't need to rest that. If you took wheat off, put a cover crop in, don't rest it. Yeah, you're probably you don't have to rest your ground. What you're doing is you need to put a living root in the ground, and you will have better benefit than just letting it rest, because the rest is the weeds that are growing, and that is the recovery, the natural recovery process for that soil. So if you take wheat off and you're not putting anything behind it, then cover crop that wheat ground. Let the species that you plant there do their job. There's a lot of information now on what those species of plants support in the soil. You don't have to rest it. You just need to cover crop it. So what happened to the soil? The sailboat. Sailboat? It's there. Well, you're not watching my sailboat videos? What the hell's wrong with you people? What do you think I've been doing? Sitting around doing nothing all day? We're using cover crops here in Holland. Our goal is to decide 6 weeks before seed plant mechanically destroy the cover crop. When it's not too wet, we spray glyphosate. How are you going to manage next year? We're changing things a little bit. I'm not giving you a couple hours this morning. I got another half an hour here, and then I'm busting out because I got to go spray. I wanted that dew to get off the grass a little bit. Okay, so this coming year, this is what's going to happen. I ran the VT over it once. Where I ran the VT over the soil twice, I had no issues. So we ran it over twice. The grass did recover some in that VT'd area. So I think what we're going to do is actually either angle the VT from 1 to 2 degrees, from 0 to 2 degrees or 3 degrees, depending on what it is, or go over it twice on slightly different angles to actually chew that grass up, or the cover crop up a little bit. Or we're going to wait longer, which in my opinion can go either way. Last year, the later planted corn was a disaster. This year, the earliest planted corn was the disaster. So it's all not a disaster, just a few places that were not good enough to suit me. There was one farm that I planted. It came up just fine. It came up okay where it came up, but then I had delayed germination because it got so dry. It wouldn't have, well, It would have mattered if we went over it twice for some weird ass reason. It would have. So, we just kind of got to roll with the punches here. The hooded 3-point sprayer, no. What I am considering is a strip till, like John Stevens of Maple Grove Farms is doing. I could run a strip till machine, which basically 8 inches or so, and then plant into those strips and allow the cover crop to continue to grow until after the corn is up, and then spray it. That's what I'm considering. I can put granular fertilizer in those strips like John Stevens is doing. He's done a phenomenal job, and he's reduced his fertilizer costs by 2/3. By 2/3, because he's concentrating it right there. And all the biology that's growing around that corn is feeding that soil, breaking down the nutrients that he needs, and it's working well for him. So if it works for him, it should work for me. Every farm is different, obviously, but it can be beneficial to what I'm trying to do. You guys in Holland are very advanced. We have a lot of Dutch farmers here. I worked for one guy, and he was a very smart guy. There's one thing. People say advanced. You're advanced. What's advanced? Better ways of tilling the ground. There's one thing that I've learned over the years. The rocks, that's the thing. I got to deal with rocks in some way or another. And I was kind of thinking of making something like a rock plow, something that just throws the rocks out of the way. What's subsurface, it can't do anything about. But just like a big sweep that would bloop, flip those rocks that are sticking up out of the ground like that. You can't roll them in because it just defeats the purpose. But if I throw the rocks to the side, it'd be okay. I don't know what I'm going to do. But talking about advancements in agriculture, better ways to till stuff. I think strip till is kind of a decent way of, as long as there's no sweeps in it, as long as it's like 3 coulters and whatever, I don't know. I don't understand fully how the strip tills work. I will be going to some shows this summer, hopefully. I want to go up to New York. There's Empire Farm Days. They should have a strip till thing there. I'll look into it and see about strips. But yeah, strip till machines are not cheap. You can get good units, used units, and then just rebuild them, or make your own unit. Really, in my opinion, I would just go get a 12-row corn planter, front fold 12-row corn planter, that toolbar for $4,000 or $5,000, $3,000, and I would make a 12-row strip till unit that goes right on, 12-row strip till unit. Outfit it with a dry fertilizer boxes and go that route, or make my own fertilizer boxes for that matter. Doesn't matter. Something that's, or use the airflow systems that they have. And that would be fine. Because I have your GPS, and you can just set it up and say, okay, here's my strips. Here they are. Boom, and plant through them. And you can strip till it a week or two before, and then come back in the fertilizer that you put down, whatever it is you need, boron, zinc, whatever, the complete blend that you're going to put in, reduce it by 2/3. Your nitrogen has to stay similar or quite close to the same, and then go for that. But if you can reduce, and here's the other stupid thing, if you watch Cole the Corn Star, I don't really watch Cole the Corn Star, but every once in a while I'll see a video that I like that he's done. And he was putting these Y droppers on his sprayer, Hagie sprayers. They got 2 now. When you become super popular on YouTube, you got money coming out your ass and you got to spend it. So anyways, he was putting these Y drop things on, and he was putting the fertilizer right on the stalk of the corn as it's standing there. Well, we did that years ago with drop nozzles on the sprayer. Of course, we were running 38-inch rows. Now, with 30-inch rows, it's a little bit tighter to do, and I would have to have a different machine. My wife is forcing me, my hand to actually buy a self-propelled sprayer. So I'm looking for a good John Deere self-propelled sprayer. Eastern Shore Farmer has really kind of talked me into that. He's like, look, if you're running one model of tractor and your GPS will, go between and it all hooks up the same. You can just move one unit to the next unit or buy more units, and everything's the same and it's easy to map it and everything's good. And I agree with that. And I like the John Deere sprayers personally. I think they're just a really good machine. I like the Case ones as well, but I was going to actually purchase a Case self-propelled sprayer last fall. They wanted $120,000 for it. I just couldn't swing it because the way that the corn did last year. I wish I'd have done it anyway, but you know what? I didn't want to overextend myself, and the combine is really kind of in the works anyway. So yeah, the rye. Be careful with rye. If you're going to put corn in, my experience and the experience of others is that rye actually will reduce your yield on corn. Rye for soybeans, you can use for wheat for corn, or you can use vetch or any other multi-species after wheat. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but yeah. So anyway, the Cold Corn Star, back to Cold Corn Star and his Y drop thing. Great idea. Did it 25, 30 years ago with drop nozzles on an old 500-gallon Century sprayer. Worked good. Drop nozzles and flat fans. Well, they weren't flat fans. They were like a twin jet, twin jet. And the nice thing about that was it would burn any of the button weeds that you had coming up late. If your herbicide missed, it would burn them like glyphosate or like gramoxone or paraquat, same stuff. So if we did have some late, missed small weeds that were under there, that would really toast them pretty good. But we had this. We would use either a flood jet, or we had these twin nozzles, and we turned them sideways. Then they would just boop, like that. 10 gallons to the acre, 32%, and that was all we really needed. And it would like fog it under there. It was pretty good. What do you think of the weeders that burn the weeds? Expensive. You're using propane, and propane's not cheap. That's just it. I mean, it's not cheap at all. I'm surprised somebody hasn't come up with a robot that just runs the rows. Honest to God, you map the field, 30-inch rows. It whiskers, feels where it's going, and then just drops granular fertilizer to the side. You get something like a 400-pound robot, 400 pounds of fertilizer. You can run a long ways. 4 acres, 10 pounds of urea or ESN. I'm actually probably going to go buy some ESN. I have a couple of farms that I think that the nitrogen actually burned off, or I'm going to be going with drop nozzles. They have drones that spot spray. Yeah, I've actually toyed with the idea of buying a drone to interseed a cover crop into the corn, but 1,100 acres of 1,300 acres of corn by the time I'm done with this, to get that all covered, I would have to hire 3 people and 2 drones to do that, and they would have to run from sun up to sun down. The wheat looks good. I've actually got some video on that, and that wheat looks pretty good. So I'm all right. Boy, ads will run shortly for some viewers. So you guys are going to get an ad. I don't know why you're getting an ad, but you're going to get an ad. It just told me you're getting an ad on a live stream. That's kind of weird, but maybe I won't get one. Who knows? Changing of the combines. So here's the deal. I really like my New Holland combine. I've had 3 New Holland combines in my life. The first one was brand new. My dad bought it back in 1977, 76 or 77. It was a TR70. And then in 2000 or 2001, I bought a 2000. Yeah, in 2000, I bought a TR70. It was a real cherry machine. And the reason I bought that TR70 was because we had a TR70 for parts. And believe me, I used the parts out of that thing. Somebody got an ad. It just said it was inserted. That's what my wife said earlier. But anyway, it's terrible. Shouldn't talk like that. So I bought that TR70, and then of course the TR70 injectors went bad, and I was just sick and tired of dealing with an old ass TR70, and I moved up to the TR96 in 2008. Now the TR96 has been a wonderful machine. I mean, it goes to the field, it does its job. We did 1,100 acres of row crops last year with that thing, no problem. Soybeans and corn, got it done in a very timely fashion. Before Thanksgiving, we were done with everything, and life was good. But now I'm at 1,300 acres of corn, and now I'm going to have 300 acres of 250 to 300 acres of soybeans. So is it going to do it? So we're looking at 1,600 acres or so. And is it gonna hold up? Well, I don't know. So I went and I was and this is a clear indication of the problems with Case IH. And it's not just New Holland. It's Case, it's New Holland. They're the same company. They are discontinuing parts at a phenomenal rate on machines that really aren't that old. John Deere, on the other hand, has so many machines out there that they're supporting them for much, much longer. And there's companies that are building parts for these machines long after John Deere discontinues. So when John Deere discontinues a major part, there's another company that comes back in and says, hey, we'll build that. I think Massey Ferguson combines, I think they're all Fence now. I don't think they're making Massey Fergusons anymore. If they are, I'm just not aware. It's the Agco company. So the Fendt Ideal combines, those older machines, even Massey Ferguson or Agco is discontinuing parts for a lot of stuff. I watched another channel, Iowa Country Girl. She does videos of her family farm in Iowa, and they have older equipment, Alice Chalmers equipment, and they have a Case International combine. And they're having problems getting parts for it. And I think it's what is that thing? I forget what model combine it is, but they're having problems, and they're getting aftermarket parts. But New Holland just does not have a big enough following that these companies are making parts for them, even though they hold a pretty good market share here in the United States with combines. Between John Deere is obviously king of the hill on all points here in the United States. And I know there's a lot of people that hate John Deere just because they like to hate John Deere. But John Deere has really good equipment. I run John Deere tractors. I more than likely will be purchasing a John Deere combine and heads and everything over the New Holland. For the simple fact is that if I have this combine for 20 years or it becomes 20 years old, I know that I'm going to be able to get the parts to fix it. Eastern Shore Farmer, I think his is an S680. And I was looking in the Shoop catalog. I can buy parts, wear parts for that S680 in Shoops. So that company's already building parts for a combine that's 10 years old or less, because they made that for quite a while. Now, I was looking at an S660 and S560. It's a smaller combine, the 560. They're expensive, though. They're a smaller combine, a Class 5 combine. And, I'm sure people are like, why would you want to buy such a small combine? Well, I don't need a huge combine. I don't have the facility to handle the grain that this thing is going to take off at that capacity. I just don't. I've got a 24,000 bushel grain bin that could be filled in a day if I bought a S760, or an S780 or whatever the hell they have now. John Deere's probably got a Class 10 combine. Well, they do. 9RX or 9X 1100 or whatever the hell that is. I am not purchasing anything like that. I don't need a new combine. I just need one that I can break apart and know that I can make a phone call and overnight apart by tomorrow instead of well, it's been out of production. I'll put the order in and they'll see if they can get it from England, Germany, Austria, Italy, or wherever the hell these things are being made. And John Deere's doing some of that stuff too. But for the love of Christ, man, these combines that are only 12 years old, and I'm hearing that New Holland combines that are only 12 years old, they're starting to discontinue parts for it already. I think the 9X took over for the 790. Yeah, it could be. I mean, New Holland has got a Class 10 combine as well. And don't you love it when John Deere comes out, the first in the industry with the twin rotor design? 1974 seems like the 73, I think, was the year that New Holland introduced the twin rotor combine. Now, that twin rotor size never changed until the TR99. And now the rotors in the twin rotor combines that New Holland's been making for over 50 years, well, they're like 28-inch rotors. They're huge. And you can really go through some shit with those combines. But John Deere's full of shit when they say they're leading technology in twin rotor design. It only took them 50 years to get onto it. Yay. I mean, John Deere let's face it, John Deere didn't have a rotary combine until like the late 90s, early 2000s or some shit like that. But maybe it was in the mid 2000s. I don't know. Yeah, the TR99s are great combines, and I would purchase one. I really would. But my problem with the TR99 is it's already 20, 21 years old, and they're discontinuing parts for it. It's getting hard to get parts. So unless you've got a boneyard that's tearing these things down, we have Kiters that's not far from here. I've got about 8 minutes left here. I've got Kiters that is, right out here in Elizabethville, Pennsylvania. And they did have a lot of New Holland combines, but they're not getting anything that new. I mean, the newest one they had was a TR88, which is a TR88, TR98, very similar combines. You can interchange a lot of parts from them, but still nothing newer, But if you go down John Deere, it's the long green line in there. If I even bought the rotary combines, there'd be a lot of parts that I could get. So it's kind of tough. New Holland launched their first twin rotor combine in TR70 in 1974. Yes, we had one. We bought it in 76 or 77. I was a kid. I remember when it came, though. It was quite an experience, and I ran that combine for years. But now you say TR70, they won't even buy a TR70 at the boneyards anymore because there's just no use for them. Nobody has them anymore. They're shot, They're beyond their years. Even though a good TR70 would work very well. But I bought a TR70 20 years ago and ran it until 2008, It was good. You couldn't pay me any amount of money to buy a Gleaner. We had a Gleaner before we had the TR70 back in 77. It was 77. 76 was we had a Gleaner in 75 and 76. I remember when that came in new as well. Best combine I have ever used is the Gleaner R75. Well, probably good combines. I don't know, but I would never buy one just for the fact that if I bought one, my dad would just cease to talk to me after that. Damn, they're bankrupt the farm way back then. It was nothing but broken. That was a Gleaner M. A Gleaner M. Should have bought a Gleaner F. If they'd have bought a Gleaner F, it would have been fine. Would have ran good. But the Gleaner M, M2s, just junk. It's absolute junk. I ran a Gleaner R for years till it burned. Yeah, I didn't know they made an R. An R what? I think they were the R7, 60s, R70s, R75s. I gave up looking at Gleaners when I was a kid. the silver seeder. John Deere reseeds ground. When I worked in North Carolina down on the eastern shore, those things shit more grain out on the ground than they put in a damn tank. I swear to God, they were terrible. You can tell. Now, any combine needs to be set up correctly. And conditions change also that will cause a combine to dump more out on the ground. I had a hell of a time getting the TR96 to clean. I had planted a silage variety, and it was terrible. Deere's drive in this technology began in '57 with the XCC1 experimental based on pull type Model 65. Well, that could very well be, but John Deere did not introduce a rotary combine until it was either the late '90s or no, it wasn't. It wasn't until the 2000s, the aught years. It was in the aught years because in God, it had to be in the late '90s. It was a TR98, a TR98 or a TR99, TR98, and a John Deere 9610 or 50 or some shit like that, whatever was in that era. And that New Holland combine went through the corn with a, what was that, a 12 row head? I think they both had eights. They both had 8-row heads on them. 8-row heads. That New Holland walked away from that John Deere, had a cleaner sample, less corn. There was nothing on the ground. We walked behind the John Deere, and the John Deere tried to catch up to that New Holland, and it was just dumping the corn out. It just couldn't. It couldn't shell it off the hub. They just couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. And from that point forward, I thought, well, New Holland's got these people. They've got their asses kicked. But again, now we're talking 20 some years ago, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And, today's technologies are different. And John Deere now actually has a twin rotor design, but it doesn't matter what they did in the 50s. They didn't follow up with it until the aught years. Also getting a slightly newer model make it easier to drive. Yeah, I agree. John Deere has always been good at copying others' designs. Actually, I wouldn't say that. John Deere doesn't copy designs. John Deere is usually the last to release a common design. So New Holland has twin rotor. Case IH or International had the axle flow. So when Case and or International and Case merged, they continued with the axle flow. Then Fiat bought New Holland from Ford, and International Case IH merged with, Fiat bought them, merged them together. John Deere let them do the R&D on their equipment, right? They did their R&D on their equipment. And John Deere took what they did, and because John Deere could buy their machines, tear them down, look at them, see, used machines, new machines, see what wore on them, see what was good, what was not so good. And then they built their machine after New Holland and Case did their R&D on these things, and then they come out with the X9 or the bullet rotors. I forget what the model numbers are. The STS, CTS combines. I believe the CTS was a cylinder tine separator, which they had a cylinder in the front, and they didn't make these things for very long. But there was a cylinder in the front and a rotor behind. So they went kind of both old design, new design, and then they just scrapped that idea and went with the STS and now the bullet rotor and now the twin rotor. So all the problems that New Holland had back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, John Deere just said, we'll just research what they had problems with, and then we'll come out with ours, and it'll be the best damn thing since sliced bread, and we'll be the shining star on the field, and we'll call it the new technology because we'll change this, that, and the other thing. And that's what they did, and which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. New Holland has really cheap crap cabs. I'll agree. Well, I don't care about the cab. Look, the cab does not. The cab does not make you money. Of course, you want to be comfortable in your cab. No problem. And I don't have a problem with New Holland cabs. I've been in them. They got cheap. They do use cheesier plastics and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, if it's a clean sample, you're not going to get docked at the mill for. If it separates faster, more efficiently, less fuel consumption, then that's where the money is at. A lot of people get into a cab and the first thing they do is, smell that new money smell, and because it fits them perfectly and, there's the seat is heated or cooled and there's a refrigerator under the buddy seat that has its own suspension and everything. They'll buy that machine because they like the color and it smells nice and it looks good inside. And everybody can say, "Ooh, somebody bought green paint," But to have a New Holland, oh yeah, well, yeah, the Grumpy Farmer has a New Holland combine. He seems happy with it. You're right, he does. I didn't hear any real complaints about it. Um, yes, Wes, 2000 with the 50s series. Yeah, the 50 series. Okay, thank you. That's about what they were. Anyway, I am run out of time. I said I'd be here for an hour. I'm here for an hour, and I think I should just stick to that. I'm glad people showed up. I have 252 people watching, 110 thumbs up, and I think I need more thumbs up. And I think you all need to do that crap right now before I sign off because it would be nice to see at least 200 thumbs up before I sign off. So just go thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. It would be nice to have a ratio that reflected the viewership. That surprised by Nichols. Maybe somebody messed around with never had a problem with their digger. I don't know what the hell that's about. New Holland is a good combine. They are a good combine. You're correct. I really love the New Hollands, but if they're going to discontinue making the parts that, would make the difference of me repairing mine or buying a new one. As you see, they want you to buy a new one. I'm not buying a new one, but I'm not going to buy a combine. Keep hitting that thumbs up, guys. I'm not going to buy a new one because I can't afford $700,000 for a New Holland combine. I'm not spending that much money. Well, let's put it this way. I could afford it. If the crop does well this year, I could afford it. I could write a check, but I'm not going to do that. There's no need to. I would buy a 10-year-old machine that's got under or right around 2,000 engine hours on it and 1,200 separator hours on it. I'd be okay with that. I would really, really be okay with that because it'd be like, all right, I can continue to buy parts for the next 10 years on this thing from the company. And then because there's enough of these things sold that I should be able to buy parts from an aftermarket company on the major wear parts, not like stupid shit like the heater knob. If they discontinue that, who gives a fuck? They sell vice grips everywhere, but whatever. But New Holland isn't doing that. Once it gets to 10 years old, they start discontinuing the creature comforts. And then when it gets to 15 years old, then they'll discontinue, like, I don't know, a sprocket here and a pulley there and the engine stuff. They may not discontinue that because they may still be using that engine design 10 years from now. Oh, we're getting close to 200 thumbs up. Keep going with the thumbs up, guys. Yeah, you can buy two other ones, but then I got two Hulks out in the yard that are probably worn in the same way that mine is worn. And I'm getting half worn out junk anyway. Like right now, I need a solenoid for the engine. I need a solenoid for the injector pump on my combine. It got wet, I guess, when I washed it off last year, and something corroded and ruined it. So I got to get a new one. I'm going to have to go to Ford to get that. Ford, Sterling, Freightliner. I think Freightliner bought the Sterling company. So what do? It's like, what the fuck am I going to do here for this thing? But I'm going to see if I can get it aftermarket on like eBay or some shit like that. And I don't know. Might even go out to Kiters and see if I can get one there. But they're going to want $300 for this thing because it's almost $600. And they're going to want half a new, which is $300. They're not negotiating anymore. It's just really dumb what they're doing. So I don't know. My dad just sent me a text message. What is this? Only 55% of the corn in the country is 55% good. Corn in this country, 55% good to excellent, and it was 61% last week, so there was some rain that happened. Rock Auto might have it. You're right. They might. It's a 7.8 liter industrial engine, though, so it's a little different. But I don't know that I'm the best YouTuber, but I am here. So anyways, I'm looking at a John Deere. Unfortunately, I'm looking at a John Deere. Messick has a New Holland combine out there I could get for $100,000 or so. And then I got to buy the heads, which you're looking at another 30-some thousand or whatever. And, it'll be a better head. It'll be both heads will be better, and it'll get me done faster. Thumbs up, guys. Give me that thumbs up. I want to hit 200 before I quit. And, my dad's doing good, actually, really good. He takes his pills and it rocks him pretty good, and then he's got to quit. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of like sad for me because I know the New Holland combines and I know that they're built well. It's just the parts availability for this older stuff. And I'm not the kind of guy that wants to buy a new machine and then trade it off in 3 or 4 years on another new machine. Now, I don't know if I don't want to get to that point, really. But I am to the point now that I do want to buy a different combine, but the sprayer is going to come first. Now, I might get halfway through the corn and soybeans, and this thing catches on fire and burns to the ground. 1460 or 1480. Yes, 1460 or 1480. You know what the problem with them is? They're owned by the Fiat company, the same company that owns New Holland, and they've discontinued the parts. An Iowa country girl, her family has a 1460, and they're having hella time getting no electronic parts are available, no solenoids are available. They got to go to the boneyard, and thankfully that they made enough of these things that you can get them. But New Holland's the same way. I had a solenoid go bad, went to buy it, and they're like, well, it was discontinued like 8 years ago, and the price tag on a little fucking solenoid was like $400 or $500, and it's crazy. I'd never buy one of those. John Deere. I can go to John Deere and order parts for a 7720 Side Hill or a 7720 Titan 2 combine or an 8820 and still be able to get those parts because John Deere's building them, right? And if I didn't want to pay the John Deere price, then I go to Shoop's and I can buy those parts. So they're available alternative places as well. And Case limited, New Holland, basically not at all. You can get Belt. Mastitis Ferguson. Yeah. Same issue. Same deal. Yeah, well, it's AGCO. You see, when these companies get bought out, as much as people hate John Deere, John Deere is still John Deere. All these other companies have been bought up and bought out. Everybody's like, buy a Fendt, AGCO. Buy a Massey Ferguson, AGCO. Buy a whatever, AGCO. Valtra, AGCO. It's all AGCO. Deutz Fahr. I think they might even be AGCO. I don't know. Cattle and crop prefer the Case combine over the Deere, but I would put a Deere head on a Case 1460 and use. You're talking old ass technology now. The old 1416s, great combines in their day. Are you going to go plant 1,500 acres of corn and run a 1460 and think you're going to get the reliability out of it as you will something that's 10 years old? And hold on. I'm not putting my money on that. I have a 31-year-old TR96, 30-year-old, whatever. It's a 1992 model, 91 model, so it's 32. This will be its 33rd season. Deutz is not AGCO. Find out who Deutz is, because it's not Deutz anymore. Deutz is not Deutz. They're all the only agricultural equipment company that builds tractors is John Deere. I think Krone is Krone, but Krone, nah, German. Here comes a little guy. 680 would be fine. Come here, give me a hugs. Little nudykins. Oh, my little boy. This is what I get in the morning. I get big hugs. Daddy loves this boy. This is my guy. Deutz Fahr is part of Italian SDF Group. Yes, the SDF Group. So they own what? So they're bought up by something else. Anyway, I got 219 thumbs up. I am 10 minutes past my time. I'm going to end the stream. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. It was a lot of fun. I hope the video was cool. If not, well, I tried. So, Bremhaminga, Hurleman, same, Deutz, Hurleman. There you go. I knew the same tractor group. What? Same tractors and Deutz were the same. Have a great day. I wouldn't get anything under a 670. They are great on fuel also, and they can handle it. I wouldn't get anything under a 670. Well, why not? I'm going to stick around here because I'm a little interested. You have experience with these John Deere combines. What is the issues with anything under a 670? Because I take what you say. You're an honest guy. You're not going to feed me a lie. I want to know what's the issues with the anything under a 670. Because I would buy a 680, but you're looking at $250,000. It's they're $250,000. I mean, you can get them cheaper, but yeah, I'm waiting. So, I could get a 660 for 85,000, and then buy the heads and be somewhere around $130,000. And I'd be okay with that. But I agree with the emission stuff, getting that stuff removed, deleted. But, not doing that. I hate it when they leave that bedroom door open. Yeah. Come on. Eastern Shore Farmer, type faster. I know you're like farmer fingers, but you can type faster than that. Yeah, Auction Time does have some good deals. That's how I ended up with the 7200 corn planter. I like the corn planter. There's issues that I've worked through, and the corn planter works really good now. So I see a 680 four-wheel drive with 2,381 hours for 122,000 on machine repeats in Ohio. Right. Does that have the heads or not the heads? A 680. And I would buy that. I know there's some frame issues with the John Deeres, but I think they've got that straightened out. I don't know. I know that Eastern Shore Farmer had some frame issues. They came out and fixed it. But there are some farmers out there like, my frame's fine. Don't touch my combine. And that's kind of crazy. How about this winter? A used JCB TM320 and I have a broken sensor. Is $1,200 in computer work, also a few 100. All the computer stuff drives me nuts. And John Deere's burn more than any other combine because there's more John Deere combines out there than any others. There's a boneyard down in my area that has older stuff for sale. Yeah, well, my old boss says 9,500, John 100, both heads. Yeah, that's fine. A 9,500. How much work am I? A 9,500 and my TR96. TR96 will wipe a 9,500's ass. A 9,600's ass. Even in a worn out condition, a TR96 will kick a 9,600's ass. So, anyway, I got to go. I guess he's not going to respond on here, but I'm going to go ahead and get the hell out of here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the 226 thumbs up, 243 watching still. And, Have a beautiful, blessed day.